Japan, the land of the rising sun. A leader in global technology, industry and design, Japan is home to over 123 million people, many of whom live in its high-tech, modern cities. Japan is also an island nation of spectacular natural beauty, dramatic seasonal changes, and sublime traditional gardens. With a long spiritual history, Japan boasts countless temples and shrines. And the castles which defended Japan's shoguns and feudal lords for thousands of years continue to stand guard over its cities. This is Japan as you have never seen it before, the mysteries of ancient settlements. The secrets of Japan's recent past, and islands at the very edge of the map. In this aerial journey, discover some of Japan's most spectacular sights, from dramatic coastlines to colossal active volcanoes. After centuries of upheaval and devastating natural disasters, Japan remains driven by a relentless spirit of flexibility and optimism, which continues to shape the country today. Japan is made up of 4 main islands: Honshu, Hokkaido, Shikoku, and Kyushu, and an archipelago of 6,852 smaller islands. We start our journey in the capital, Tokyo, before traveling west to the port of Shimoda. We visit Nagasaki, a diverse international city, and Kanazawa, a well-preserved old castle town. In the Oki Islands, we learn how Japan broke from the Eurasian subcontinent, and in Toyako, we witness the same powerful geological forces at work beneath Japan's active volcanoes. Welcome to Tokyo, the largest city in the world. Home to 38 million people, 30% of Japan's overall population, Tokyo is the world's most densely populated metropolis. Seamlessly blending traditional and modern architecture, Tokyo is the financial powerhouse behind the world's 3rd largest economy. A relatively recent phenomenon in Japan, skyscrapers now dominate the Tokyo skyline, following the post-war construction boom. We follow the Sumida River through the capital to discover some of the city's most important sights, from its traditional downtown area to its financial hub and fashion districts. We start our journey in the Marunouchi Business District, mostly owned by the Mitsubishi Group. Nearly a quarter of Japan's GDP is generated here. This is Tokyo Station. Built in 1914, Tokyo Station is the main intercity rail terminal in Japan. 3,000 trains depart from Tokyo Station every day. The main brick facade on the western side of the station has been preserved since its opening in 1914, and while it was destroyed in a bombing raid in 1945, was rebuilt within the year. The building has stood witness to Tokyo's breakneck modernization. For Japan, modernization was not just about railroads. Baseball was first introduced to the country in 1872 and has since become Japan's most popular national sport. First opened in 1988, today the Tokyo Dome is home to the Yomiuri Giants team, as well as the Baseball Hall of Fame, a chronicle of the history of baseball in Japan. To the east of the city, we find a large urban area called Shitamachi. Shitamachi was associated with the merchant class of Edo, rather than the wealthy samurai who lived in the western part of the city. Edo is the old name for Tokyo. With a stable population growth and very little contact with the wider world, the Edo period saw the city grow to colossal size. The entertainment and shopping district of Asakusa developed to serve the merchants of Edo in their leisure time. This is Sensoji. Approaching the temple gate, Nakamise-dori Road is lined with shops selling souvenirs and sweets. The Kaminarimon, or Thunder Gate, at the entrance of Sensoji features a large paper lantern. The black and red signify thunder and lightning. The Hozomon, or Treasure House Gate, is the entrance to the inner complex. Within the temple grounds is a 5-story pagoda built in 942, along with the main hall by the head of the Taira clan, once the most powerful clan in Japan. The temple houses an important relic. According to legend, 2 fishermen miraculously discovered a statue of the Buddhist god Kannon in the Sumida River. The statue remains hidden from public eye. The eastern part of Tokyo is crisscrossed by a network of rivers and canals, including the Kanda, Arakawa, Edogawa, and Sumida rivers. The Sumida River runs through Tokyo for 27 kilometers under 26 bridges. Overlooking the Sumida River is the Tokyo Skytree. Completed in 2012 and boasting a height of 634 meters, the Tokyo Skytree is the tallest tower in the world. The Tokyo Skytree serves primarily as a broadcasting tower. With a neo-futuristic design, it is inspired by the traditional pagoda. The color is a delicate shade of Japanese traditional indigo blue, often used in Japanese art. With an observation platform and a restaurant at the top and a shopping complex below, the Tokyo Skytree has revitalized the area. A former iconic symbol of the city, Tokyo Tower, located in the Shiba Park district, is still a popular tourist hotspot. With an Eiffel Tower-inspired lattice design, the tower is still a popular symbol of Tokyo and plays an important role as an emergency radio tower at times of national disasters. Western Tokyo includes the districts of Harajuku, Shibuya, and Shinjuku. This is Tokyo's commercial capital. From fashion to game centers, cinemas, coffee chains, and bookstores, this is a 24/7 consumer paradise. The area around Shinjuku is home to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. Built in 1991, just across from the Shinjuku Central Park, it was designed to resemble a giant computer chip. Shinjuku Station is by far the world's busiest transport hub, with 36 platforms, over 200 exits, and serves as the main connection hub between Tokyo's wards and the city's subcenters. Shinjuku was the first of 7 urban subcenters built around Tokyo, on the outskirts of what was once old Edo. The most recently developed subcenter of Tokyo is the Tokyo waterfront area, Odaiba. Crossing northern Tokyo Bay between Shibaura Pier and the Odaiba waterfront development is the Rainbow Bridge. Completed in 1993, it was built to help ease traffic congestion in central Tokyo. With an arced rainbow shape with an upper and lower deck, the bridge is a feat of modern engineering. It offers spectacular views across the city, towards Shinjuku and Marunouchi to the north, and Odaiba to the south. Odaiba is what remains of 6 island fortresses initially built by the Tokugawa shogunate, the Daisan Daiba, or No. 3 Battery. During the Edo period, Japan pursued a policy of national isolation. No foreigner could enter, and no one could leave the country. The metropolitan Odaiba Park includes the seaside park on the opposite shore. Once planned as a vision of the future, development was stalled by the financial crash in the 1990s. The area has recently come back to life. Also on the waterfront, we find Tokyo International Exhibition Center, commonly known as Tokyo Big Sight, the largest convention center in Japan. Japan is known worldwide as the capital of manga and anime, and Big Sight hosts the world's largest fanzine, manga and anime markets. Its most distinctive feature is the 58-meter-high, 8-story conference tower. The convention center itself is divided into 3 main areas, each with their own restaurants and retail outlets. Tokyo Big Sight is also the main press center for the Olympics and an official competition venue for various events. South of the Tokyo waterfront is the old port town of Yokohama. Yokohama was developed following the end of Japan's isolation. Japan embarked on a rapid modernization policy in the Meiji era, from 1868 to 1912. Yokohama was the 3rd port to open its waters to foreign trade. Today, it is a major international port and a prosperous commercial hub in its own right. Yokohama's Osanbashi International Passenger Terminal, completed in 2002, docks huge cruise liners, bringing tourists from the rest of Asia and from around the world. Formerly the customs house for Yokohama Bay's shipping activities, these handsome Meiji-era red brick warehouse buildings have been converted into one of Yokohama's most popular event spaces. Yokohama Marine Tower was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's tallest lighthouse. When night falls in Tokyo, we see a very different side to the city. Since the Olympic Games in 1964, Tokyo Tower has been illuminated every night. In winter, the lights glow a warming orange. In summer, it is lit up in cooler tones. In the past, the tower has also been bright pink to raise awareness for breast cancer, covered in stars to represent the Milky Way, and there are often special illuminations for Christmas. Tokyo Station's subtle night lighting provides a welcome contrast from the dazzling lights from the high-rise buildings. To celebrate 400 years since the start of the Edo era, Sensoji's main structures, including the 5-storied pagoda, Hozomon Gate, and the Kaminarimon, are lit up every night. The initiative was led by the local shop owners, keen to build on Asakusa's international reputation. Views of Yokohama Port at night are especially beautiful, thanks to the subtle blue lights on the Ferris wheel. A sprawling, complex urban jungle, at night the city can look almost peaceful. The Tokyo Bay area covers 922 square kilometers. The bay spans the coasts of Tokyo Prefecture, Kanagawa Prefecture, and Chiba Prefecture, from Cape Kannon to Cape Futsu. Running across Tokyo Bay is the Aqua Line, which crosses 15 kilometers from Kawasaki to the opposite bank at Kisarazu. The Aqua Line Bridge is the longest bridge in Japan at 4.4 kilometers in all. A 9.6 kilometer tunnel underneath the bay is the world's 4th longest underwater tunnel. Due south of Tokyo, we come to Cape Futsu. This is where the first ever garrison was established for the defense of Tokyo, as part of the maritime defenses erected in Tokyo Bay in the Edo era. Further off the Cape, we come to the first of these maritime defenses, the No. 1 Sea Battery. In operation since 1890 as the Tokyo Bay Fortress, it was stocked with heavy artillery during the Russo-Japanese War and was the last line in the defense of Tokyo Bay during World War II. After the Second World War, the central portion was destroyed by the Allied forces during the American occupation and has been out of action ever since. The Tokyo Bay Cannon was erected in the opposite side of the bay. A local merchant who witnessed the firebombing of Tokyo by Allied planes decided to construct this giant statue of Kannon, the Buddhist god of compassion. At 56 meters high, the structure is supported by 16 10-meter pillars. Inside, a spiral staircase with 319 steps climbs to a viewing platform at the top. The statue is dedicated to both civilians and soldiers who have died as a result of conflict around the world. A monument constructed in the hope of a world without war. Heading west from Tokyo Bay, we arrive at Shimoda. The opening of the port was negotiated in 1854. Commodore Matthew Perry of the US Navy, sent by President Fillmore, demanded that Japan open its borders. The arrival of Perry's so-called Black Ships were to mark the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and the beginning of Japan's re-engagement with the West, its Asian neighbors, and its transition to a Western-style democratic state. Perry's ships would have approached Shimoda along the Izu Peninsula's treacherous Pacific coastline, which had kept visitors from the country for centuries. While the resulting rock formations are breathtaking, this dangerous coastline is prone to frequent earthquakes and tsunamis. The shape of these rocks, known as Senganmon, generated by the violent erosion of the waves, are said to form a gateway to the nearby Kumomi Sengen Shrine. The Izu Peninsula boasts a warm subtropical climate. In spring, yellow rapeseed or nanohana blossoms overtake riverbanks and roadsides. It was oil from nanohana flowers that once illuminated Tokyo in the Edo era. Along the Kawazugawa River, we find one of Japan's most famous signs of spring: cherry trees in blossom. The cherry blossom is often seen here earlier than anywhere else in the country. Over 1,000 kilometers to the southwest of Izu, the city of Nagasaki is located on the southern island of Kyushu. Once a secluded fishing village, in the 16th century it became central to trade with Portuguese and Dutch ships. Nagasaki became one of Japan's only windows on the wider world. As well as importing tobacco, cakes and textiles, trade brought with it books, art, technology and Christian missionaries. To the west of Nagasaki is Mount Inasa. Rising to a height of 333 meters, adventurous visitors can reach the summit by ropeway from the city. A glass-domed lookout offers a 360-degree view of the scenery and the city itself. First opened in 1905, the original wooden Nagasaki Station building was damaged severely during the atomic bombing of 1945. But was swiftly rebuilt. Transport links were seen to be crucial to the city's recovery. This is Meganebashi, or Spectacles Bridge, built in 1634. The reflection creates the illusion of a pair of spectacles. In the 19th century, Japan welcomed foreign merchants that would contribute to Japan's modernization. Thomas Glover, a Scottish merchant, lived here in the Glover residence overlooking Nagasaki Harbor. Testament to a fusion of Japanese and Western ideas, the residence has latticed arches, French windows, and British chimneys. But the basic construction is Japanese, using traditional roof supports and wooden beams. Glover helped send Japanese students abroad to study in London, founded the shipbuilding company that would become Mitsubishi Corporation, and established the Japan Brewing Company. The house and garden attracts nearly 2 million visitors a year. The island of Hashima tells a darker story of Japan's drive towards modernization. From the 1930s, prisoners of war were forced to work at the Mitsubishi facility here in the underwater coal mines. Over 1,300 laborers died here from accidents or exhaustion. The island is now abandoned and access restricted due to the instability of the remaining structures. It is now a World Heritage Site and featured in the James Bond film Skyfall. While Nagasaki now boasts some of Japan's most beautiful churches and was briefly ruled by Japanese Christian lords, the city was also the site of brutal suppression of Christianity by the Tokugawa. Many hidden Christians took refuge here on the island of Kaminoshima, God's Island. This statue of Mary, built in 1949, was built to commemorate the 400th anniversary of missionary Francis Xavier's first visit to Japan. Kaminoshima Church at the entrance of Nagasaki Port was built in 1867 to welcome foreign ships back to what was once a Christian town. The 26 Martyrs Wall was built to commemorate the Christians crucified in 1597 at the order of Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Until the Meiji period, Nagasaki residents were forced every year to undergo a ritual of stepping on images of Christ or Mary to prove they were not Christians. The missionaries arrested and crucified in 1597 to discourage Nagasaki's wider population included 20 Japanese missionaries, 4 from Spain, 1 from Mexico, and 1 from India. Today, Christianity in Japan is witnessing somewhat of a resurgence, and whether Christian or not, many young people elect to have Christian-style weddings rather than native Japanese Shinto or Buddhist ceremonies. The stunning Ora Church was built shortly after the end of Japan's closed country policy in 1853. Said to be the oldest church in Japan, it was built by Koyama Hidenoshin, the master carpenter also responsible for the Glover residence. While Nagasaki was briefly administered by Christian rulers, the Tokugawa shogunate replaced them with the tyrannical Matsukura Shigematsu. Matsukura strictly enforced the anti-Christian purges, carrying out mass executions and raising taxes to pay for the construction of his grand seat of power, Shimabara Castle. In 1637, an uprising known as the Shimabara Rebellion, largely involving Christian peasants, saw his castle come under siege, though it emerged undamaged. Continuing his father's draconian measures, his son, Matsukura Katsuye, was eventually beheaded for his brutality. He was the one and only daimyo lord to be beheaded during the Edo period. To the southwest of Nagasaki is the 1,300-meter high volcano Mount Unzen, the site of Japan's first national park. This is one of the highest peaks, Fugen-dake. It is a pristine area of outstanding natural beauty. With little flat land available, local farmers had to be inventive. These traditional terraced fields are miracles in agricultural innovation. Nagasaki today is still famous for its castella, Portuguese cakes originally brought to Japan with foreign trade. But it is equally well known for somen noodles, produced here amidst this breathtaking scenery. 1,000 kilometers to the north is Japan's old western capital, Kanazawa, a major castle town once wrestled over by competing feudal lords. Kanazawa joined the Shinkansen network in 2015. Shinkansen, or bullet trains, link all major cities in Japan, including Tokyo and Nagasaki, with over 2,700 kilometers of track stretching between them. Kanazawa is the central city of the western coastal region of Japan, home to around 460,000 people. Kanazawa is Japan's second largest city after Kyoto to escape destruction by Allied air raids. Outside of Edo, the area around Kanazawa was once the richest in Japan. Today, parts of the old castle town, such as the Nagamachi Samurai District and the Chaya Entertainment District, which once hosted traditional geisha performances, have survived in good condition. Kanazawa Castle became the base of Maeda Toshie, a powerful daimyo in 16th century Japan. Under Maeda, Kanazawa flourished. While Maeda fortified the castle to keep himself safe from attack, the castle was almost entirely destroyed in 1759. Both the castle and the impressive Ishikawa Gate were rebuilt in 1788. The Ishikawa Gate stands to the east of the remnants of Kanazawa Castle, which has been partially restored. Kanazawa Castle Park also contains the Sanjuken Longhouse and the Tsurumaru Storehouse, impressive architectural feats in their own right. Kanazawa Castle Park includes beautiful lawns and woodlands and was home to Kanazawa University until 1989. In honor of Kanazawa's rich history, its traditional buildings are preserved in their authentic condition. During the Edo era, many chaya or tea houses were built along the Asanogawa and Saigawa rivers. In 1820, Kanazawa opened two official geisha districts in the east and the west of the city. Today, the sound of the traditional samisen from geisha performances can still be heard along the riverfront. The Higashi Chaya district boasts the most tea houses in Kanazawa and is perfect for an evening stroll. The Kenroku Garden near the Old Town. Maintained by the Maeda family for generations, it is regarded as one of the most beautiful gardens in Japan. The central pond, Kasumigaike, is said to be like an open sea. The Kenroku Garden stands for the 6 attributes of a perfect landscape: spaciousness, tranquility, composure, antiquity, water, and a magnificent view. Away from the city of Kanazawa, we find in the surrounding landscape the real inspiration behind these features of Japan's garden culture. Northeast of Kanazawa, in the Himekawa Valley, is Lake Shiraike. Shiraike, or White Pond, is so called because as the snow thaws around it, it takes on a peculiar cloudy appearance. Near the lake is the Fudo Waterfall. The waterfall is home to a local shrine near the plunge pool where a dragon deity is said to reside. If the water in the shrine is ever polluted, legend has it that the dragon will bring torrential rain down on nearby settlements. In Japanese Shinto belief, the life force that keeps one's body and mind healthy and balanced is the same life force one finds operating in nature. The Fudo legend, with its message of environmental conservation, has thankfully preserved the dramatic scenery here. A host of similar shrines can be found along Japan's northern coast. Many of Japan's water deities are derived from the image of Benten, the Japanese goddess of love, beauty, water, and good fortune. She is said, like the island of Japan itself, to be made up of lava, rock, and volcanic ash. She is also the god of safe voyages. Crossing the Sea of Japan, we come to the Oki Islands. Right at the northern edge of Japan, here is where the Japanese archipelago once joined the Eurasian continent over 15 million years ago. The Oki Islands were forged in the wake of a huge submarine volcanic eruption. The coastal areas are lined with strange rock formations, many of which have been likened to statues of the Buddha. This region is sometimes called the Celestial World. In Japanese mythology, two gods, Izanagi and Izanami, male and female, held a jeweled spear above the ocean. Drops fell from the spear to create the first islands of Japan. We now know that Japan was formed a little more slowly by the movements of tectonic plates. Its location today on the Pacific Ring of Fire makes Japan vulnerable to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Kunigakaigan National Park's Matengai Cliff is built up of stratified layers of lava. The cliffs of the Oki Islands rose as hot lava from the ground and solidified to form these spectacular vertical cliffs. Matengai is among the largest sea cliffs in Japan. Nishinoshima Island was, until very recently, just a small green tip of an underwater volcano. But a sudden eruption in 1974 dramatically enlarged Nishinoshima. Another eruption in 2013 enlarged the island further still. Unlike the Matengai Cliff, the steep cliff here is red, as the boiling lava did not oxidize so quickly. The Choshi Dam is the result of a construction drive during the 60s and 70s in Japan, which helped to fuel the country's economic boom years. But while the dam itself might be a new feature of the landscape, the rocks nearby are among the oldest in Japan. Known as Oki Gneiss, this metamorphic rock was formed at high temperature and pressure underground 250 million years ago. The northeastern mountains of Dogo Island were formed by Oki Gneiss. The same rock is found in Gifu to the east. It forms the geological backbone of Japan. Whether you believe in the gods or not, the powerful age-old forces beneath Japan rarely sleep for long. We now head to Toyako, located off Japan's northern island of Hokkaido. This is the most volcanically active area in the Japanese archipelago. The eruptions around Toya Lake and the Usu volcano change the landscape every few decades. Around 110,000 BC, the Toyako caldera lake was formed by a gigantic volcanic eruption. From about 18,000 BC, repeated eruptions around the southern coast of the lake formed the Usu volcano. Recent archaeological excavations have revealed that this region, despite its instability, was home to the ancient Jomon people of Japan. The Jomon period, around 12,000 BC, was dominated by a hunter-gatherer culture. Their characteristic pottery still survives today. Excavations of shell mounds have uncovered Jomon jewelry and figurines. Jomon pottery is among the oldest in the world. The area around Usu volcano continues to be a site of repeated eruptions. This mountain, Showa Shinzan, the new Showa Mountain, was formed in 1945 by a volcanic eruption. In a matter of moments, at the same time as the eruption, a strong series of earthquakes devastated the surrounding countryside near this peaceful lakeside town. The water in the crater left behind is ice-free all year round. Japan has its volcanic activity to thank for the fact that thousands of hot springs or onsen baths are scattered across the country. Traditionally, they were used as public baths. Today, they are enjoyed by local and foreign tourists alike. Here, it is the volcanic geopark itself that tourists come to see, its white spiraling smoke and its mysterious Martian landscape. But tourists have received terrifying reminders of the power of this eerie place. The onsen town here at Usu was destroyed in an eruption on March 31st, 2000, when the western flank of the Usu volcano erupted for the first time in 23 years. White smoke and ash were sent pouring over a large area, including the towns of Abuta, Sobetsu, Otaki, and the cities of Tomakomai and Chitose. The foothills here have been preserved as they were at the time of the eruption. A volcanic archipelago, Japan has long endured frequent natural disasters such as earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Yet through their long history, the Japanese people have responded with ingenuity in the face of uncertainty and hope in the face of disaster. Japan's largest volcano, the sacred mountain that has become a symbol of the country, is Mount Fuji. 3,776 meters high, it is the highest mountain in Japan. At the base of Mount Fuji stands the Arakurayama Shrine. The 5-story Churei Pagoda was built here as a peace memorial in 1963. The shrine itself was built in 705 AD, one of 1,300 shrines erected in honor of the deity of Mount Fuji. The 3 sacred trees close by are over 1,000 years old. Near Mount Fuji are 5 lakes, or Fujigoku. These were formed by Fuji's previous eruptions, created by lava flows which diverted local rivers. These traditional Japanese houses on the western lake have been recently restored. The village of Yashi no Sato was built on the shores of Lake Saiko after a previous village was destroyed by a landslide in 1966. More than 20 traditional houses here have been reopened as shops, restaurants, and museums. One local museum provides details on what steps Japanese scientists are taking to prevent similar disasters occurring in future. When the rising or setting sun strikes Mount Fuji, right at the peak of Japan's highest mountain, something remarkable happens. Just twice a year, a mysterious gem-like image can be seen casting rays of light on the surrounding clouds. It is called the Fuji Diamond. Mount Fuji last erupted in 1707, And following recent earthquake activity, some experts believe it might erupt again. It is impossible to predict when and where the next eruption will occur. Until then, we can only marvel at its beauty. Japan boasts modern cities, faithfully preserved traditional towns, and places of outstanding natural beauty. The land itself tells a story of dramatic change and unpredictability. Japan continues to forge its own path into the future, mindful of the changes that have made it the country it is today.